President Obama will be speaking to the United Nations General Assembly later on as well. This will surely feature. We'll discuss that and more with Ibrahim Sharqieh with us in the studio, Deputy Director at the Brookings Doha Centre. He will undoubtedly say that this is the right thing to do and we must confront ISIL before it reaches our doorstep. The kind of thing which, and you and I were talking about this off air before, we've heard a lot in the last, how many years? Over a decade.
Over a decade, yes.
Exactly. I mean, this is getting war-weary, isn't it? I want to broaden out with you and talk about, Iraq and Syria looking at more intervention in their countries. How much more can they take of that?
Well, the fact that we have been hearing this for the past decade or over actually is a sufficient indicator actually for the problems and the challenges that this campaign has been facing over the past decade, and actually raises serious questions and concerns over the use of such a war and what is going to be different this time. There are many serious problems facing this war, this campaign. One major thing is the issue of trust. This region does not trust any longer any promises of a quick or a win over ISIL or ISIS or Al-Qaeda or ICAB or any type of other groups. The trust issue, the campaign has done nothing to overcome this. And in addition, there is an issue of war fatigue in this region. For the past over a decade, all what this region has been seeing is just being continuously bombed by different campaigns and with seeing no results, no outcomes. On the contrary, the issues are getting even more complicated, more difficult, and causing just more suffering for the people.
I guess the fact that ISIL even rose in the first place shows that all of this hasn't worked.
Yes.
We saw President Obama there talking about all the support he's got from all these Arab nations. I want to sort of flip it around and see any support for ISIL. People, you talk about people don't trust.
Yes.
What about people in Iraq and Syria who don't trust what the Maliki government used to do, or don't trust the new government, or don't trust Assad, or don't trust the Free Syrian Army or the rebels?
Yes.
They might look towards something like ISIL.
Yes. Well, Kemal, this actually, that's a great question, and reminds me with the philosophy of George W. Bush when he began this whole war against terrorism, saying it's either with us or against us. People here are not big fans of ISIL, and they're not big fans of the American policies either. So when you
and
push,
their own governments as well.
Exactly. And when you push people, it's between either with us or against us. They will tell you, or some of them, at least as we have seen in Iraq, saying, you know what? No, it's with you. We're against you. When you push them, and that's exactly what happened in Iraq, and that's why we're facing the issue now is even more complicated with ISIL, because that's what happened with the Sunni community when dealing with an American-appointed President Maliki and his government. All what has done over the past years since Maliki came to power is just raising a sectarian agenda and marginalizing the Sunni community, and then telling the people it's between us, it's either with us or against us.
Right.
So the Sunni community at the end, after years of marginalization, said, you know what? No, we're against you.
Against you.
Right? And that's what happened, and that's what actually empowered the ISIL, and that's why we're facing the war today.
These Syrian airstrikes, or the airstrikes on Syria, I should say, how do you think they're going to end up? Because President Obama is saying that they will keep going until they have to, and as long as they have to, we will keep going. I mean, this was a president who said he wanted to get out of war in the region. It only looks like this could carry on and on. How much longer do you think it could go on? Yeah,
I think there is nothing innovative that we have seen in this war that makes it different from the previous wars. Today we have reports that civilians have been already killed in Syria as a result of the bombings there. And this is a major dynamic that shifted most of the wars that happened in the past, where you're getting more civilians killed in these wars, and then inviting their relatives and their tribes and their communities to join the other side, and this getting the war even more complicated. I have not seen anything innovative, anything different in this war from the previous one to tell us that this is going to end soon, or it's going to be different, or it's going to change anything. So I think we're probably, or likely, actually I should say, going to see some changes, especially in Iraq, that you have to a certain extent the troops on the ground challenge to a certain extent is being addressed by the Peshmerga and the Iraqi army, though the Iraqi army collapsed in less than 24 hours when the ISIL attacked it. So at least maybe you can make an argument there, but this does not solve the problem, because any progress you make in Iraq, you will push them towards Syria, and that's where it becomes the problem even more complicated, or push them actually to the rest of the region, which makes it even much worse.
Okay, Ibrahim Fraihat from Brookings Doha, thank you for that.
Thank you.
What we've been talking about, we're actually going to get a bit of an idea of what's happening on the ground now, because as we say, this fight against ISIL takes its toll on many areas in both Syria and Iraq.